Hello and welcome to Dario's Comic School, and today I will pitch you the story for RockNRoll Vampire Hunters. I already did it, but bear with me. I want to say Kurt Russell, but it's not Kurt Russell. It's Adam Kubert said, "More work will make you better, not time." And the title of this video will be something like maybe this in the back, and what if Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez would make a comic? But it's too long for a thumbnail. So stay with me. We're gonna break the analysis paralysis and we will get into comic work. This is my pitch for the comic, and let me show you what I learned the past few days. I will look at all of these drawings, and this will be a deep and very cool video. So when the camera stops to shake, we can start. Okay, let's start. I put this one aside because we won't need it, and I already showed you the layouts, and I will show you more of the story and the characterization, and I have a bunch of cool stuff to show you. I don't know, do I first show you stuff? Yeah, well, let's get things going. They say show, don't tell. Okay, let's show what I did this morning, and then we will go back and recap. So stick around. This morning I woke up, and a good friend of mine, a comic artist, his name is Thomas Slusalek, and he told me, "Brother, I have seen your YouTube video and about making a comic, 22 pages. Comics is like hitting the gym." And he understood. And he challenged me. He said, "Brother, let's do a 22-page comic until October." That means we have now, this watch don't has a date, but today is the 13th. So I have roughly 1 month to start and finish a comic. We said 22 pages. I counted this Black Hammer comic, and if I counted it right, this one has 24 or 26. Please comment down below how many pages does American Standard comic single back paper issue have. I recalled it was 22, maybe it's 24, 26, I don't care. If I have to do a page more, I will do something like this, just 3 panels, and spread out the story a bit, and then do story beats like this, and maybe something like this. This is very cool. And as you can see, brother, just 3 panels on this page, but it takes its time. It's beautiful. Like it takes its time. And so everything is possible. And then he challenged me, and I said, yes, let's do that. Let's do a comic. And I don't know what I got myself into, but I think it's good. Like when I'm hitting the gym consistently, my muscles grow, my anxiety goes back. Like I don't care as much for things that probably should or sometimes make me antsy or itchy, because like I hit the gym, I don't know, something feels very good about myself, and I'm centered within my body and within my soul. I don't know why that is. It is. And I feel like this man. And this is Conquest from Invincible. And as you can see, I was drawing up maybe a plan, like up your drawing game, up your finances. Do I do Fiverr or Upwork? And somewhere here, I definitely thought to myself, man, I have to draw daily. I have to make it a habit. And so practically I kind of decided to go all in again, and to put in the work needed to create the stuff I need. And also my Patreon, I have a Patreon. So if you want to support me on my Patreon, this is also a good, before we go into this, stick with me, but this is just a quick request. Down in the links below, somewhere beneath the thumbnails, or maybe I put it first. If you want to support me on Patreon, just with $1 or $2. Hear me out. And if I could like find 1,000 true fans or 2,000 true fans, let's say 1,000 people give me $2, that would be a salary. Or if 2,000 people gave me $1, 2,000 true fans, that would be a salary. And then my response to that would be, as soon as you hit the threshold of like $12, or let's say you sign up for a year, $12 for a year, I will ship you 4 comics. Sounds a bit strange, but that's roughly my plan. So if you want to go down, sign up to be a Patreon, $1 or $2, and let it trickle in, and I will do comics and I will ship it to you. That's like maybe something like Netflix, just that you support an artist. And this will be my comic, and I will talk soon about this. I will show you all the drawings. This might be a longer video. I hope that it will be in the 20-minute range, but you will see great artwork. But let's go into the story first. So this morning I woke up and I was challenged then by Steve's request, and he will do his comic and I will do my comic. And so it's a Grindhouse project, a double feature. And lately I got into the Invincible TV show and Robert Kirkman and spaghetti western, and you know, we're going in the right direction. And I also wrote down something from Adam Kubert. What he does is like, he does the script, or he gets a script, he does the thumbnails, which means everything he sees, he roughly lays out on a page, silhouettes, whatever it is, like pretty rough thumbnails. Then he goes to the roughs and layouts. He starts drawing, and David Finch says in his video on Proco about why he does that. It's better to see if your roughs and layouts work. Let's say you make a silhouette of, I don't know, a Superman-like figure in space. He's holding something up, his cape is here, and here's one leg and here's another leg, and then you got something here. And you kind of want to know, does this work as a layout? Is this good? Or in the thumbnail sketch, does my story read? Do the panels add up on the page? And then you can say, like, this girl tells something to this guy, and then they look up and show with their fingers, and you can see, does it work? So before you go into a deeper stage, you first see, or this is the working process for most people. They see, this is what I have written. Can I lay it down? Does it work it on this stage? If this stage works, your rough thumbnails, then you go to layouts. Then it gets a bit more, maybe on a small pages like this, or you will lay out stuff, and we'll get to that in a second. And so he does then the roughs and layouts, and then he does the pencils, inks, and color, and this other thing does someone else. And I was writing down on something from Elon Musk, and another thing. A lot of YouTubers recommend, and also marketing people, also Robert Kirkman, when he pitched the Invincible, he said, yeah, this is that twist and that, and then Valentino something told him, Invincible will not go that long because people are not buying it. Take the twist, bring it for that, and then we see how things go. And then from that, Invincible runs for, I don't know, 14 years. And so Elon Musk talks about optimize a thing that should mistakes you shouldn't do. And so he says, people optimize things that should not exist. And the question is, would you love to see a rock and roll Vampire Hunters? I mean, go down below, comment, yes, I want to see it. I'm pumped. Quentin Tarantino, something like Marv, beautiful babes, shotguns, guitars, somewhere in the West, fighting alien scum, and it's a vampire horror spaghetti western in the 1990s or something like this. And people said, before you do a product, pitch if people want to have it. If they want to have it, then do it. And do not spend all the time making a product that then nobody wants or nobody will sell. So please, if you're watching this video, tell me something. Or yeah. So first mistake you do, optimize a thing that should not exist. But I already said yes, and I'm drawn to this, and I will show you the deeper story. So solving a problem nobody needs solved, that's bad. We need a perfect market fit. Number 2, remove unnecessary process steps. We'll see about that. Simplify or optimize so things can run smoothly. Then accelerate cycle time to learning, making the thing. That would be writing down a story, doing thumbnails, going from thumbnails to layouts. The more you do, the better you get. Then going from layout to pages, then drawing those pages, then creating the comic. This is a machine, but I already know the machine works. I am the machine, I can work it. But I'm sharing the process with you. And then he says, then automate. So a lot of tell, not show. I think that was bad for the video, but let me go into this. Yeah. What's the story about? Should I show you pictures? Well, let me show you first the pictures, then we'll tell you what the story is about. This would be like the cover, something like this, RockNRoll Vampire Hunters issue 1. I will do it in the next month. I think stuff like this you have already seen. There will be some vampire scum family, a band of vampires who roam the Badlands, and then there will be some vampire hunters, and the leader of the vampire hunters will be called Brick. He served in the war. I don't know which war, depends on where this comic plays out. But he was a war veteran, and he has a scarred face, and he's the end point. We have, at the beginning, we have Johnny, and Johnny is a naive guy, and he falls for a vampire girl, or he might fall for a vampire girl, and Johnny comes from the ordinary world, and let me show you, where is it? I have it somewhere. He comes from the ordinary world, and then he goes into the underworld, and there he learns how to be a man. This is a story about growing up, how to go from skinny and naive to become a brick wall and a real man. So that's the deeper theme of, I would say, the movie or the comic. And I think this I've already shown you. I want it to be, to look great, to be fun, because I've realized that comics, YouTube, music, everything you put out there has to be sexy, has to be kind of a bit pop cultural, has to be digestible. Doesn't mean that it has to be shallow. Just, yeah, there's definitely an appeal for things that are made well and understood well, as this drawing. This is something from Ryan Oatley. I was kind of mimicking this, and I think his anatomy skills are great, and that is why he can draw good. And here I was also casting, like I have a cast of 4 people, and I was casting Mitch Hennessy, Samuel Jackson from The Last Kiss Goodnight, and yeah, let's go to the meat and potatoes. So this is what I've drawn this morning, and here's also, I was thinking about different other stuff like spaghetti, western, acid, horror. This is some inspirations, Darkest Dungeon, and here I have a sheriff. Oh, and this is what I will tell you about the storytelling. So this is where the story begins. my first page I did this morning, and I don't know, it may be the early 60s or mid 80s or early 90s, and I kind of copied like John Mayer, so something like that. But it's just an inspiration. Everybody has an inspiration for something, a stand-in for the comic. But this is what it's about. It's a young kid in his early 20s, and doesn't matter which time it is, but he ventures into the world. Let me see, here's the storytelling aspect of it. So we have here the status quo, everything is okay. We have the ordinary world, and then we have the call to adventure, something ventures on. And this kid wants to be a great musician, and he ventures into the world, and his backstory is he was a square, he was a nerd, but he got good at music, and so he ventures into the unknown. And he's funny and he's excellent and he's well-mannered, but he's not prepared for the real world yet, because out there, leaving his farm, there is a different world, and there's also a very violent world, and something he has to lose, like he has to lose his naivete, and he has to become knowing, wise, experienced. He's maybe skinny, but he has to become muscular to stand up. And if you're asking me why do you need to be muscular, why do you need to be fighting as a man, I tell you something. I teach kids at school or at workshops, and there was lately an incident where a man stormed in and he grabbed a child because I don't know, he was the older brother of one of their of the kids, and they were beating each other in school. So he wanted to talk to them, but he wanted to talk to that kid while I was teaching those kids. So there was a tumultuous scene, and I had to step in, and this guy faced me and wanted to fight me right then and there. He was definitely a bit out of his mind, and but he was tattooed, he was bigger than me, and he clearly was instantly in my face, and he wanted to fight. Luckily, I know a bit how to fight, and I am in good shape, but I'm not in great shape, and I'm not an expert fighter. So I was kind of prepared, but I was a bit hesitant, as everybody with a bit of sense should be. But that day, and even earlier than that, I understood that there are instances in this world where you cannot talk to people, where people will put or be violent towards you, and it's good to be a fighter, and it's good to be in great shape, because nobody can then harm you in the worst way. I don't say that you won't be harmed, but it's definitely not as likely. You will not be a prime victim. So Johnny goes from a non-fighter to a fighter, and he goes from a dreamer to a creator, from pure potential to actualized solid stuff. This sounds a bit like Jordan Peterson stuff, but yeah, I don't know, maybe it is, but it's not that I'm the greatest Jordan Peterson fan, but it's cool. And he will or must transform into a man. So this is a story. He goes from boyhood to manhood, and this will be explored in a beautiful comic, a la From Dusk Till Dawn, Near Dark, spaghetti western, vampire movies, cowboy movies, something like this. And yeah, and he will have weaknesses. He was overlooked in high school, his playing style. So he's a kid, but he will become a man. And then I wrote down From Dusk Till Dawn, Indian Reservation, and maybe there's something vampire from here, but I don't know. This is just what I have written down. And so we will come to this. Maybe I will do a separate video on this, storytelling in a nutshell, I would call it. I know people appreciate great videos, but I try to keep it simple so I can do my comics. And so I should have shown before I was talking so much, but yeah, this is like, again, trying to create the story. Here is where I start in my head. He comes with his beautiful red Cadillac into a desert town or a deserted town, and I don't know if his car is new or beaten up. And then there he plays a gig in front of just a couple of people or tries his luck. He's kind of like a mariachi entering the town. And he has potential, but he's a diamond in the rough. This is maybe a rags to riches story or an overcoming the monster. And I don't know when he meets the other band or the other people or if he gets saved. But definitely there's a number 5, a Luke Skywalker vibe. A Caleb Colton from Near Dark. He's like a young kid, but he's not a kid anymore. But he's not a man yet. And so he follows his call to adventure. He needs to venture. And he is not a man yet because he does not rule yet his kingdom. So he needs his domain, his dominion, somewhere he can realm. And usually, I don't know if for a woman it's the same, but for a man, usually the domain, like for myself, is like making stories, drawing comics, and that will give you a living. That is your domain. That is where you have your authority. With that comes money. With money you can provide, and so on. And so then I go on. This is just like what I was writing down, stuff I could draw or put on the pages. These are like kind of Midwestern, middle of nowhere, lost in life, alienation, no guidance. That is maybe some of the themes that come from the visual images: corruption, unnatural city world. Johnny leaves his ordinary world to enter the underworld, and he meets then May, and things that seem benevolent are not so. Like, May is definitely has a good heart, but she's a vampire. So, and she is with a family of vampires. I don't know if I can steal it like from the movie Near Dark, but I might, because I don't know. Let's call this inspiration. I trust the process that I will change it up enough so that this will be its own thing. But she's with a family of vampires, and the leader of the vampires will be this guy. And we'll come to this guy in a second. But they are like stray dogs. They are a malevolent, evil force that cannot be reasoned with. Those vampires are not. They don't have a code. They are just. They live just for hedonistic pleasure, and they don't have a purpose. Like, they're not some classy vampires that have a code. These are just stray dogs, and they do whatever they please, and so they are kind of deranged evil. But she definitely is not as far gone as the rest. And in the bar, I don't know how this all comes to be. Like, I haven't written it all down, but there is a chance that this vampire enter the bar, or that they already are at the bar where he plays. So he's maybe at the wrong place at the wrong time. And Jesse Hooker right now, like just a guy that was turned back in 1864. He fought in the Civil War. So he's come a long time. He's been around. He just prowls the Badlands, and they just live by night. And here we have a bit of Bill Paxton. This is the kind of vampires that I want. Like, they are like Western bad guys, the villains. They are just they are tyrannical. And then maybe he meets the allies, and the allies are people that come from those lands, or maybe frequent those bars, which are musicians or seem to be musicians, but are secretive, maybe vampire hunters, or maybe avengers. Maybe they're maybe their families were slaughtered by them, so they are on a revenge tour. And so we have here Mexican, Hispanic guys, and then we have here another girl, and she plays the bass. And what else do I have? And I wanted to feel and look like a mid-90s movie. And the cool thing about like some of the mid-90s movies is that the directors got to remake their favorite 50s and 60s movies. Like they loved noir movies, and so they made neo-noirs. And I make a neo comic noir. And so I want shootouts, fights, action, fun and sexy stuff, and that cool feeling cars like this. And yeah, I was then casting somewhere because Brick is like this war veteran, now turned musician, vampire hunter, the leader of the pack. And I was checking out, do I want him to be more like a Kurt Russell, or do I want him to be more like a Marv from Sin City? And does he have a scar? Is he scarred from the war? Is he scarred from vampires? Kind of like the leader, the Morpheus of the gang, and Johnny is more like Neo from the Matrix, something like that. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just take what I have. And at the beginning, definitely, when Johnny comes to that bar or leaves the bar or is at this bar, he will meet some stunning girl. And I don't know if she's from the good gang or from the bad gang, but I wanted a moment where he totally, I don't know, falls in love with a girl. And then by the end of the 12 issues, which I don't know if they all happen, but if I would do 12 issues, by the end of the 12 issues, he's now much more experienced. He's not just judging a woman on her looks, but more on her character and what she brings to the table and all that stuff. So I think that was my pitch for the RockNRoll Vampire Hunters. It will be done. I hope you could take something from this video for your own stuff you want to make. Maybe you join forces. Maybe till October you start doing a comic by yourself. You pick your own topic. You start doing the things Adam Kubert said. Write a script or have an idea. Do layouts. Do thumbnails, layouts, and then draw the pages. Like, this is the bare minimum. And if you're a beginner, you do just 1 page. If you're advanced, you do 4 to 8 pages. And if you're pro, or if you want to challenge yourself, you do 22 pages. And you can write me on Facebook, Instagram, you can write me here, you can write me per email, and we do this together, and I give you advice. And so this is happening, I guess. RockNRoll Vampire Hunters. It will look and be great. And I will link down below a video from Jason Parker where it talks about making the minimal viable comic story. And let's have fun. And we see us in the next video.